This is an incoming transmission from the Jersey Shore.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group. Today you'll hear some of the most important financial information and wealth-building techniques available anywhere.
Let's get this party started, huh?
Do you have a question for Scott and the team?
Am I on the air?
609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646.
We'll get that information to them by radio.
Now, Financial Insanity with Scott McLean.
Are you ready to retire? Well, have you saved enough? We're going to discuss this and more today on Financial Insanity. I'm your host, as always, Alex Dingman, and I'm here alongside my good friend, Scott McLean of McLean Advisory Group, founder of McLean Advisory Group, and a tremendous financial advisor. Scott, this is always a highlight of my week, my friend. It's great to see you.
Thank you, buddy. Right here in Waretown, New Jersey. What a beautiful day it is. You know, whether it's raining or hot or cold, it's a beautiful time, and I'm so glad to be able to work. And I think I got another 40 years in me, Alex.
Yeah, I think so too, my friend. And for all of our fabulous listeners, if you hear something today and it raises some questions for you, if you want to learn more, the number 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646, the number for Scott McLean and the wonderful team at McLean Advisory Group. But Scott, let's jump right in here.
Yeah, I wanted to put a note real quick. From our last couple of shows, we have had so many people calling in asking questions. So first of all, I want to put a shout out to those people that are calling in. You've got some really deep concerns, and I've had a few people come into the office. I really wanted to find the concerns, and man, when they leave here, the coolest thing, Alex, I wanted to share out there is I tell them to hide your wallet, hide your checkbook. We can't do business. Let's get to know each other, to understand the questions more in detail, because retirement is scary. So I wanted to thank those people that have just met with and they've got on the phone, because, you know, by putting these questions off, because we're going to come with some serious questions today, Alex. You mentioned what we're doing today.
Yep.
And if you've got those questions, don't put it off. It's like, if you had to go to the doctor and you had cancer, you're going to get a second, third, maybe a fourth opinion. This is why it's so important. So I want to thank those people who came in. And for those of you calling, the questions that Alex and I go back and forth come from you. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, that's a great note. And so, yes, talking about if you are ready or not to retire. Later on, we're going to be talking about how boomers obviously up to bat with retirement right now, but Generation X is on deck. And then we're going to close this show with probably our favorite segment, the mailbag segment, where, again, we get questions from you, the great listeners. But let's jump into the topic of the day, talking about how much money do I need to retire comfortably. So, Scott, is there an actual magic number?
Well, let me grab my figure 8 ball. Remember the 8 balls? You had to turn them over to find out what the answer is. As I look at let me turn it over. It is right.
Oh, you
here.
have one of those?
Magic number.
Oh, I didn't know you had one. You're just now telling me, Scott? Come on. It's been your secret this whole time.
I love it. You think about how, asking about how many donuts you need for breakfast. Well, it depends on your appetite. And to think about, it could be a couple $1,000,000 for some people. For other people who maybe are going to live overseas and live in a very inexpensive country, it could be a lot less. And then those are people that came in just the other day from our radio show, Alex. They are living down to earth. They don't spend a lot of money. And when they told me how much they were spending on a monthly basis, I said, I bet you're kidding me. He goes, no, I think we need that. I said, well, I bet it's going to be a lot less. Let's dive into it. We found out that, so again, depending on what your lifestyle is, and when you go into retirement, you don't really know what that is. We can work with it, but it's got to be a flexible number the first 6 to 8 months to a year. But when you find that number, that's where your budget is. So run the budget first, Alex, and we can figure that out, and we'll go on. I'm sure you got some more great questions for our listeners, our loyal listeners, to really use the math that I use that I'll make it so simple they'll be excited.
Right. And Scott, it's all about finding that number for that particular person. It's not about what worked, for your brother-in-law or for that guy at work. I mean, everybody is so individual, and that's what it's all about. Just like your analogy with donuts. For some people, it could be that they only need 3 donuts to get satisfied. But some other, maybe you need 6. But either way, you don't want to run out of donuts or money. halfway through the party, right, Scott?
That would be a bad day.
Yeah.
Especially when you have to go to your neighbors and borrow a cup of sugar to make your own donuts. But I think about you're on the long haul plan. This is the long haul plan. If you take your tests in school, used to be age 80 or 90. Now they're going out to age 100. So we have to figure out, will your money last a good long time? Now, will you last a good long time? I don't know. God willing, I hope you do. But again, savings is like a tank of gas. If you got your foot on the heavy pedal in the first few years, maybe giving the kids money that really you shouldn't be because it could really affect you, or perhaps maybe you're just cruising comfortably. It depends on the emergencies that you come about. And again, that is really a question. This is why when you speak to your advisor, when things come up, you need to give them a call and say, you know what, I need to take care of my mom right now. She's in the nursing home and she's going to be coming home living with me. I need to pull money out. I'm not going to go back to work. Game changer. So again, we all have good intentions, but again, what's the bottom line? That is a conversation with the advisor, which is why people come in here all the time.
Well, yeah, and Scott, and whether it's trying to calculate, do I have enough gas for my drive, or do I have enough money for my retirement? You know, we're not all math experts. I was terrible at math in high school. I need some help. So how do we figure out that number as far as what's needed for retirement, Scott?
Well, you figure in your Social Security, and then if you're married, your spouse's Social Security. Then you figure again, this is after doing your budget. We already said that several of our shows, we've spoken about that. Then you talk about your trips and vacations and gifts. Okay, great. Let's find out you come up short. Let's say you come up short $2,000 a month. Well, if you run the numbers, $2,000, I'll make it very simple. $2,000 a month is $24,000 a year. Well, if you take $24,000 a year, and let's say I had a pile of money sitting in your garage. And so as your pile of money is sitting in the garage, is it making money? Well, you know you need $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year. Well, if you simply take $24,000 and use a simple calculation, let's say of 4%, just for using a easy math number, 4%. Well, to give you $2,000 a month, you need $600,000, or 24,000 divided by 0.04 equals 600,000. That means you're living on the interest, not the principal. Now, some people will say, Scott, I don't want to leave anything. I want my check to bounce to the caretaker. I just don't want to spend it all. Great. If that's the case, we can change the numbers if you know exactly the day you're going to die. But sometimes we don't. And so we're using the rule of 4, which is an old math and many, many, many years. And you can today, the interest rates are 4.5%, 5%, but they're going to change as the Fed changes the rates up and down like a yo-yo. It depends. So again, take your money that you need on a monthly basis, subtract out what Social Security is, subtract out what your pension may be. And then, okay, here's what the deficit is. If the deficit is using, again, $2,000 a month, times 12, because you want it monthly, divided by 0.04 or 4%. That gives you what you should have in your nest egg. The rest, a piece of cake. Now, I'm making it very simplistic, Alex. I hate to do that because we didn't talk about inflation. We didn't talk about the market taking a big severe drop. I'm talking about safe money that you can count on so it shows up in your mailbox every Monday, the first of the month.
Right.
This is one way of planning.
Well, and Scott, you'll happily have that conversation for folks if they do have questions. You know, sometimes this math can make people's heads spin, but if people are out there and if they have questions, what do you have for those folks?
First of all, if you got questions, I write them down. If you've got them on your mind right now, write them down along with this very, 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 very important number, 609-488-4646. I'm going to give it to you again because that's the phone number and the website, 609-488-4646. Write your questions down. Don't put this off because you know what? If it's just a quick 3-minute phone call, 10-minute phone call on the phone between you and I. Hide your checkbook, hide your wallet. We're not going to ask for your money. I am here to help you. Been in Weirtown, been in Ocean County since 1979. I'm an old dog, and hopefully I'll live a lot longer to help those of you out there because I love this industry. But we also have to be careful of taxes, Alex.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's where you're going right now, but that's coming around the corner in 2025.
No, let's definitely hit on that number one more time for Scott McLean and the team. McLean Advisory Group is 609-488-4646. But yeah, you mentioned it, and we don't get political on this show. There are plenty of outlets for that if you want that content. But we do have to address the fact that the tax cuts, Jobs Act enacted in 2017 under President Trump is set to expire at the end of next year. Now, we obviously don't know who's going to win the election, but Scott, what would be the implications if the act does indeed sunset, as they say, at the end of 2025?
Both Republicans and Democrats make promises. We hope they keep, but a lot of times they don't. I'm going to pick on both sides, and you don't need to know my affiliation, but you need to understand this is your money. And so when I look at the tax ramifications of the sunset law coming out, this is going to really affect seniors. Why? If you don't have any write-offs like maybe younger people do with their kids or maybe other benefits, maybe you run your own job. But if you are a senior, it's going to really affect you. So I don't care what the Democrat or Republican says. If this sunset law comes off the table, you need to call our office and say, Scott, how does this affect me? And I'm being very clear and candid. Call my studios, better yet, 609-488-4646. Because if the sunset law does come off the table, the question, there's a call right now, X. If it does come off the table, my concern is, are you ready for this? Almost like if your lovely spouse passes away, you go from a married to a single. Tax bracket jumps like a crazy little jumping bean. Well, now we talk about this. The sunset law could really affect you by an extra $4,000 to $5,000 that you did not know. So we got to understand, which is why our firm does taxes. We do the legal work we work with the attorneys, our clients' attorneys, or you can use the attorneys here. But we look at everything. But this taxation is going to be horrendous. It's not going to be, if it doesn't get permanently set, as well as the corporate taxes. And I think Donald Trump's talking about going after China and really putting a lot of challenges against them. That's going to affect you too. So I'm going to pick on both sides. But what's the worst of two evils? This is what we are watching for. And so, Alex, we'll be doing a lot of workshops when this happens. So stay tuned to our website. Not just a plug, but it's 609-488-4646. And go to our website. When we start having educational websites on, you can watch it anytime you want, where I'll be talking about taxes. Please don't put this off. It's going to affect you. Whether your advisor's talking about it or not, you got to pay attention to this. You've got to pay attention to this. It's important.
And as Scott said, that website is simply thephonenumber.com. So 609-488-4646.com. And I think I just want to finish on this note here, Scott, just quickly, that, when it comes to taxes, some people are surprised with the taxes that they pay in retirement. Do you see that? People thinking, all right, generally I'm going to pay less in tax when I retire. Is that true? Do you see people being more surprised with how much they are taxed?
They are. In 2017, under Donald Trump, when he enacted the Tax Cuts and Job Act, that really reduced tax rates. So when we do taxes here for our financial clients, we found people that didn't like Trump was really just blasting him. And I don't say a word either side.
Sure.
But I was saying, let me show you on the tax returns where you're benefiting. I'm not for Trump and I'm not for Biden at the time. It didn't matter. I don't care. I'm talking about just the numbers, and it made sense. You have some people make an extra $25,000 and they paid probably an extra 5% in tax on the extra $25,000. They just didn't understand it because they didn't, like you said, wrap their arms around it. So I take people slowly through the tax return, because when you're retiring, like we just spoke about earlier, when you retire, how much can you pull out? How much do you need to retire on? Well, now we need to look at taxes. And so this is really important that your advisor, if she or he is not looking at your tax return, it's almost like driving down the road with one tire flat. Your car is going to wear out and it's not going to be a smooth ride. So don't settle for less. Pay attention. And if this tax law changes, please, again, go to our website to learn about this. I'm not giving a cheap plug. I've never said our website this much, but there's a lot going on in the next 4, 5, 6 months that are going to affect you guys out there. So 4, 5, 6 months, it's going to affect you.
That number again for Scott, the team at McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. Well, coming up, we're going to be talking about how the baby boomers are up to bat in retirement, but Generation X is on deck. And then later on, we're going to reach into that financial insanity mailbag and go over some of those listener questions. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you.
Hey, this is Scott McLean. I want to wish you guys a tremendous, wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and all the lovely greetings we have for you. Proud to be in your life as we try to give you the financial information so you don't go insane. Happy holidays.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money, but do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
I'm on the fence about a real tree. I've done the real tree. When you have that fake one that's in 3 different pieces, you just bust it out every year and you take a second and it's already got the lights attached to plug it in and boom.
You like the smell. I do like the smell of those Christmas trees.
Yeah, but you can get that smell, in different ways. But anyways.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
There is so much excitement around starting a brand new phase of life with your retirement. But if you're relocating to your dream retirement home, downsizing to a smaller house or condo, or simply wanting to declutter for this new time of life, you've got to face getting rid of stuff. And when it comes to confronting your possessions later in life, retired professor David Eckert literally wrote the book on the subject.
You really can't delegate the management of paper to other people. You have to look at all of it. And one piece of paper can stop you for hours because you'll discover something that needs to be done or somebody who needs to be contacted. And hours of work on paper really doesn't reduce the volume of things that are in, for example, a desk or a kitchen, but it has to be done. So that would be a great place to start.
So that was Eckert talking about how that, accumulating things, that's just a natural part of life. But in his book, he says at some point, all this has to come out and it can feel overwhelming. And that's where he says those piles of paper in your house are a good place to start when you're trying to organize.
You can get so caught up in mail. You're looking through it. Get to the point. What's your focus? What's your time spent on? And it could rip apart. I mean, time is so precious. It is so powerful. And as you get older, it becomes more precious. And you'll understand that, Alex, since you're a young man. But when you get older, the question is, how much time? Where should I spend my time? Maybe it should be, for many of us listening to the station and me as well, get to the gym. Spend time there versus going through papers and papers and papers. Again, get your stuff in order. Maybe get your kids involved. And if somebody in the estate, when they talk about the dollars, the dreams, the dollars, and of course the dynasty, maybe get your kids involved when it comes to your estate. But when it comes to getting your stuff and your downsizing, this has an emotional attachment where people put it off or they don't want to get to it. And they get to sort through the belongings. This could be a lot of stuff. When I hear people want to move out of their house and downsize, Alex, you just mentioned, the hardest part is sorting through all that stuff.
Yep.
And other people say a cuss word, but we'll just say stuff, because it just keeps adding up. And then your memory, you look at all this stuff and you try to put it away like these hoarders on TV. It has an emotional attachment. You know what? Let's get new emotion.
Yeah.
Let's change. Let's not look at history. Let's look at the future. What could it look like and feel like? And again, as he was saying, you get so caught up in the paperwork and this and that. Put it aside, get to it, and maybe you're just stop looking at this crap. Be done with it. But again, the emotional attachment and sorting through belongings, this could really stop you from downsizing.
Yeah. So, Scott, you're saying I don't have to keep every single drawing and little coloring that my son has done? You're saying I could throw some of that away?
For those of you who are acting like Alex, being a knucklehead right now, the answer is yes, you can keep them. With the new phones, Alex, you can take a picture, then throw it out. So if you have to go back to it, you can just look at the pictures. Meanwhile, you're wasting flipping time looking, and now what do I do with it? Where do I put it? How do I file it? And you end up going nowhere. Your mental brain just gets stuck in this loop, getting nowhere.
Absolutely.
And that's just double dumb.
No, you are completely right. If you need help, if you need the green light from Scott to throw something away or to take a picture of it so you can keep it, the number 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. And Scott, obviously, you're not showing up to somebody's house to help them, organize all their knickknacks. But, people do have financial statements. They got a lot of financial documents. Can you play a role in helping someone organize that stuff?
Yeah, it's so important to understand where the money is and, of course, where it came from. If you're changing advisors from one advisor to another advisor, maybe you keep a year of documents back. A lot of documents now online. Most every single company has it. Well, I guess they all have it online with their PDF file. You can save that, categorize it, and put it there if you have to have it. Sometimes you need to go back and look at some old trades and some things. Maybe something got messed up. But again, you can have that. But again, sort through that. If you haven't looked at it and touched it, why do you now want to keep going back? Well, just in case I need to. Okay, well, just in case you need to, then you file it away and don't look at it again until you need it. And then categorize it for those people who really are so detail-oriented. And there's a lot of smart, beautiful people that way. That's why they call them, these people, librarians. They have the master's degree. Well, you got to categorize your stuff. But again, the emotional attachment, sorting through the belongings, you think you got a lot of stuff, can be life-changing. And then, of course, when you want to downsize, it could stop you from downsizing. You really got to prioritize what's really important to me now, what's important to my family now, and what's important to me in the future. Because myself, it's hard to throw away stuff sometimes. Yeah. And I've got books. My wife says, Scott, throw away these stupid books. You can get them online. I just had some good chapters in there. And she'll say to me, when's the last time you picked up that book? Well, I won't answer her because she's got me. I'm in a pickle. So those of you, if you got a wife like mine who is a lovely lady, or a husband, maybe a husband, and they're giving you some voices of reason, there's no sense fighting it because you're in a corner and you can't get yourself out of it. Just make a decision and move forward, because I can tell you the emotional, the attachment, the belongings you have, and getting rid of it, you're going to get stuck and you can't move forward.
Well, and Scott, I'm sure you've seen this before where somebody thinks they have a financial strategy, but what they really have is a pile of statements or a shoebox full of account information. And so this kind of cleanup process can also help unveil, what does the person really have anyways?
That is so important, because when you do, reviews with clients and you meet with people and say, let me find where you're at, you start asking questions, the 3D approach, the dreams, what you want. And you start asking detailed questions, and they find out, Scott, I want to thank you for a second opinion, because my financial guy really never asked those questions. I said, well, let's dive down deeper, because this is important as we talk about their dreams. And we talk about their dreams, which leads to the dollars, because we find out that maybe they suffocated their dreams because they don't know where to get the dollars. Or maybe they haven't followed through with their dreams because they didn't have a concrete plan. Well, this is really important to discuss this, not on a every 3 or 4 or 5 years. Are you on your plan? Are you working out? Are you getting stronger? Are you losing weight? Are you watching it? Are you monitoring it? It's the same thing with the finances. Are we moving ahead or not?
And Scott, if you would for me, give me that phone number again, and what happens when folks make that call?
when people give us a call, you can give our studios a call, 609-488-4646. Ask for Laura. And if you've been listening to my station for over, 12, 13, 14 years, Bonnie was here. Bonnie is retired now, moved on to greener pastures, which I hate her for because I love her to death. But anyway, she's on to greener pastures. And so I'm so pleased to have Laura help us for those new people listening to us. She'll help put you in my book, and I love to talk to you. If I'm available right away, she'll put you in. But again, we'll take a 10, 15-minute phone call and get your questions formulated. Write them down. And then what I would encourage you is, what do you want to get out of that phone call? Time is valuable. I want to give you as much meat and potatoes as I can when you ask a question. And if I don't know the answer, I can promise you I will find the answer or lead you to someone that'll help you that answer. And you can get me by 609-488-4646. Again, it's real simple. Give us a call, 609-488-4646. Very simple phone number right here in Waretown, New Jersey, right across the street from Dunkin', or down the street from Dunkin' Donuts and ShopRite, right here, a beautiful area of Waretown, New Jersey. Hey, I look forward to speaking. Don't put this off. Planning is planning. Not planning could be failure, and it could cost you a lot of money.
Absolutely. Well, decluttering and downsizing are a few of the non-financial challenges of preparing for retirement. More to come here on Financial Insanity. This is Alex Dingman of Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, wishing you a happy holidays. I hope you have good health and get everything on your wish list. Thanks for listening.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money, but do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
By the way, I'm an old dog. I'm almost 65, but I will accept presents.
Scott, are you just going to plug your birthday every show until the first of the year? Is that what's going to happen?
I'm going to plug it till I get a present.
There's so much excitement around starting a brand new phase of life with your retirement. And as we're talking about today, well, decluttering, downsizing, those are some non-financial challenges of preparing for retirement, but challenges that they are for sure. And retired Professor David Eckert wrote the book, Downsizing, talks about just this and a time in life when you have to confront the stuff that we've accumulated over the years. David says, while it is a challenge, he says it's a good feeling to declutter, donate, and downsize.
And we studied people in over 100 households in the Midwest. People with large households and people with very modest households. Almost everybody was glad after they moved that they had been able to downsize, and they felt very good about what they did. They felt empowered.
And you can get that. We all can, right, Scott? I mean, it's scary to tackle all that, but man, when you're on the other side, you got a lot of clarity and you're feeling accomplished.
When you get rid of the emotional attachments and you sorting through all your stuff, as we spoke about earlier in downsizing, and this creates a life change, a lifestyle change. So your focus should be focused on what is it going to look like to have a smaller house? How great would it be less mowing the yard for some of you? Maybe it's living out in the country like I do. You know, this uncertainty about the future, that could be exciting for some people, but where it starts really in creating something that you can lean on, something like maybe it's a budget, or maybe you know where your money's coming from, and it's solid in your mind how the money's going to be coming out. Maybe your financial concerns, your downsizing could really help save money. Now you can go out and do more things, travel more. Maybe your estate planning. There's nothing better when I see people, they come into our office, we talk about legacy planning, and now we take care of their will, their power of attorney, their living will. their irrevocable trust, why we want to protect their assets from the nursing homes, put those into different areas. Maybe you're downsizing or you're changing your business. You want to pass your business on to your kids. Putting this off causes more trouble. But as you real clearly said, clarity gives you empowerment. Empowerment moves you forward. So now you're moving from this 7,000 square foot house, or some of you 2,000 square foot, and you're moving to a smaller house. No big deal. Who cares about that? The Joneses and the Jeffersons, they're not paying your bills. You are. So what greatness, how great would it be to have an extra $1,000 a month of expendable money? How great would it be to have an extra $300 a month for some of you, or maybe $200? I don't know what your number is, but when you do your budget, when you do the estate planning and you put your legacy planning, and then we have the end of life, how do we protect all these goodies? We talk about the dreams, the dollars, and the dynasty. We talk about this all, but the biggest problem I've said over and over in my book is nothing worse than putting your head in the sand and have your vitals exposed. What are your vitals? Your assets, your money, your families, the estate, probate. You know, the crows and the clowns show up at the funeral. So these are the things that stop you. But what are the things to help you get going? A clear, concise plan with looking the future. How great would it be looking down the line where now you're excited about the new move? Thinking about it with a different mindset. This is where people have the problems, where I notice so often the different mindset of moving. And I can tell you, we're in America. We can go wherever we want. It's a beautiful thing. If you'd like to talk about that, maybe you're stuck in the muck and say, how do I make this retirement work? We look at the dollars and then the legacy, but it's about the dream. 609-488-4646. I'd love to speak to you off the air. No cost, no obligation. Again, if you'd like to talk about the dynasty, make sure you ask Laura for our chapter 11 of my book. We talk about the dynasty, how to set up your estate. 609-488-4646. Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem. Don't procrastinate. Give me a call off the air, 609-488-4646. No cost, no obligation, just great information.
Absolutely, Scott. And people procrastinate when it comes to, well, a lot of things, but with all that stuff in their house, they're putting it off. And, well, there's just things, Scott, that it's tough to procrastinate, and you're gonna encourage people not to when it comes to things like creating a budget, legacy planning, end of life planning, financial planning in general. These are all things that people can put off. And why do people put this stuff off, Scott?
It's easy.
Yeah,
it's easy to put things. You know, it's like you everybody wants to lose weight, so they go to the gym for a few weeks until the pain comes on. The hell, I'm not going to do that again. Screw that. I'm not going working out. That hurts too much.
Right.
You know, it's easy to think how you see these good, lean, mean people on TV, and you want to get that way, and you visualize that. Oh man, that'd be great until the pain comes in. Well, the question is, you got to work through the pain. No one wants to go through pain. No, none of us. I'm going through the PT through my knee, and it's been really, really challenging. You think I want to go to this daggum doctor to make pain? No, I want to walk normal, like with this stupid limp. You know what? So I'm going to seek out what makes me work out, what's going to make it really comfortable in the long run. Mm-hmm. Short-term pain could be a long-term of enjoyment. And so for those people putting financial, maybe it's time to change advisors. I don't know. Maybe you want a second opinion. I don't know. Maybe you say, you know what? Am I in the right spot? Maybe it's time to pick up the phone and just say, let's dial 609-488-4646. Why? Just to get a fresh opinion, a different opinion. Not to say you've got to work with Scott McLean and McLean Advisory Group, but to say, you know what? Are we on track? Because there's a lot of stress methods to put on a portfolio to see if we have another black swan event. Could that eat your money away? Could there be another drop in the market? Could we be going to war? Could this happen? All these negative things hit your mind, and then you end up doing what? Not doing anything. Procrastination is the disaster. So again, no cost, no obligation. Just great information by dialing 609-488-4646. If I can help you, I'm here for you. You know, I guess I've been doing this radio shows almost now 15 years now with WBNJ. We're a proud supporter of them. It's an education radio show. It's people love it to death. I've heard, just they love it, and I'm so glad to be on it. And Bill's done a wonderful job in helping our company get the information, the education. And I can tell you, we've never tried to sell people over the phone, in person, or on any products. They just come in and get information. If this is a place for you, hey, this might be the best place ever for your next phase in life.
That number, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. And one thing, Scott, is that people just get so emotional as we're talking about downsizing today, getting rid of stuff, but people have emotional ties to their belongings, to their stuff. And so that can be difficult to go through it at all or to get rid of stuff. But also, Scott, when it comes to people's finances, I mean, people get very emotional when it comes to financial decisions. And I think, having a person like you come in to help plan and to have that outside voice who doesn't have all that emotion tied to their money can really just help folks and not be alone in all this, because it can be very overwhelming.
You have a few factors. We all do. Factor number one, when you read the book on psychology of investing or psychology of money, which I've read several books, the psychological factors that really stop people, the mental condition, this is real, whether it's the obsessive compulsive disorder, or maybe you have the attention deficit disorder, you can't stay focused. This psychological factor can really hurt you. This is why maybe get your kids to help come in, or maybe your wife or your husband or someone else outside to get a second opinion, or get someone else help change your thinking. Psychological, that makes you stop. You have emotional attachment. We're so deeply, and you said it, Alex, so many times, we're so deeply attached to maybe, let's say, our old financial advisor, but he or she maybe have moved on, or maybe they only focus on the growth, not income. Or maybe they're not looking at your will, power of attorney, living will. They're not looking at taxes and how the ramification of taxes. And they're only looking at finances. So the emotional attachment to the finances, because you've been with the advisor for so many years, but they haven't looked at the full picture. They didn't take the 3D approach. The 3D approach is so critical on those three areas. And then you think, well, I'm wasting time by getting a second or third opinion. Again, psychological factor, emotional factor, and the fear of wasting someone's time or your time. Well, you know what? If all we have is time in retirement, how are you wasting it, or how are you investing it? If you're not investing it, you're probably wasting it. And I can tell you, in this business now, since 1982, licensed in 83, done this for a few years now, I can tell you the information changed so much from those years to now, and the traumatic experience people faced will make decisions different. And so I say that very cautiously for you out there. Had you invested in 1929 to 1950, the market went nowhere. You probably would never want to go on the market because you saw it just take a tank. And those people investing from 1982 to 2000, the market went nothing but up. So the psychological aspect for those people in 1982, get in the market. For those people in the market 1929 to 50, stay out of the market. This psychological effect can really traumatize your portfolio because you don't know which brain. You have a devil on one side and an angel on the left. What are you listening to? Let's look at the entire facts, because the psychological and emotional attachment could be the fear of wasting your money away and your time. Let's push forward as you're downsizing and really benefit you, your spouse, your significant other, your children, your charity, by not putting it off. And I'd love to help you. 609-488-4646. That was how you get a hold of me. Ask for Laura and say, Laura, I want to get in Scott's book. I want to have a quick phone call. Let's just have a quick discussion. No cost, no obligation, just great information. 609-488-4646. I'd love to talk to you guys, and I appreciate the time of you listening to this show.
Absolutely. And we know that nearly 70% of Americans are missing a written financial plan. But we also know people without a plan tend to feel less confident about their future. And so just what you were talking about there, Scott, people put this off. It's hard to address. Sometimes it's hard to get that real. But then if you don't address it, then you're not going to be confident about your financial future. And so that's why it's so important to come in and get guidance from somebody like Scott. That number again, 609 488 4646, 609 488 4646 ada.com for the website. Well, good stuff. And when we come up, we're going to hear about somebody else in the area who's helping folks. We're going to hear from Robert Brown, who's going to talk about some benefits that you might not know you have.
Oh, that's great.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646.
Investment advisory services are offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Frankly, you could have your grandkids tweet out to your friends or go on the Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is and say, I got great information from Scott.
And you left out TikTok there as you're rambling off the different social media being used by the kids today. You got to remember that TikTok.
That's right. Tickety-tock.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group.
McLean Advisory Group is so thankful for our veterans and the sacrifices they've made over the years. We're going to talk today about some programs aiming to help these great veterans with daily activities, medical expenses, and more. Financial Insanity, out-of-the-box thinking for your financial sanity. I'm Alex Dingman, alongside, as always, Scott McLean.
That's right.
Today, we have a good friend of his, Robert Brown, retired Navy veteran for over 20 years. He was a chief petty officer for the Persian Gulf, and now Veterans Service Officer helping folks. Robert, thank you so much for serving this great country and for continuing to help folks find those great benefits.
My pleasure.
That is awesome. And Scott, I know you guys have quite the history, and you like each other a little bit. You work together, you like each other, and that's a good mix, right, Scott?
Once in a while.
It is a good mix. His wife's beautiful family, took his family out on the boat. We just had some fun together. So the neatest thing is how it started as we were helping our veterans. I took a class, as I mentioned in our previous show, about the aid and attendance pension benefit, which that benefit for whether you're in a nursing home or you're at home, I mean, that benefit is really, really beneficial. My daddy was served in Korea. My grandfather served in World War II, and I am a 4F, not a Dodger. I'm a 4F. In other words, I didn't qualify because of surgeries on my body before when I tried to go in, but that was the rule in the McLean house. But notwithstanding, the aid and attendance benefit on our previous show talked about could you get benefits whether you're at home or not because you're sick or disabled, or maybe you need to go into the facility like Vineland, Paramus, Menlo Park. There's great facility. One of the best ones, I believe, in New Jersey is Vineland. But this program today, we spoke about that as a previous program, but this program today is for our veterans that serve. And there's two types of benefits, the two types of benefits that Robert is very well of. And Robert is 100% disabled veteran benefit, not because he's ugly and I'm better looking, but because he's actually, this is not textbook, this is real world. And of course, the lawyer in our office also is 100% disabled benefit, getting these wonderful benefits. There's a connected benefit, service-connected benefit, and there's a non-service-connected benefit. And Robert, if we looked at the service-connected versus non-service, we talk about the aid and attendance benefit, which is a wonderful benefit for those of you or your parents, you need to know about it. You need to ask us. And by the way, if you don't know about that, the number is 609-488-4646. Please feel free to give our studios a call if you have any questions. We'll get you in touch with Robert or someone that can handle your calls. If I'm busy, I don't want to miss your call. 609-488-4646. But Alex, we're talking about this connected benefits. Rob, there's two types of benefits. Let's give a summary of this other benefit we talk about. Well, you see on TV all the time this benefit down in Camp Lejeune. We've been doing this thing for how many years, Robert? Since 2008.
Sure, a long time.
And I have one of our gentlemen in our church who has spina bifida, which comes from the water, Camp Lejeune, and he, as child of a veteran, didn't know he qualified. And when I mentioned to him, he says, "I don't believe it." And so, of course, now he believes it. Robert, there's a lot of benefits. Let's go ahead and break it down as quick as you can.
Sure.
As we think about this great benefit.
Okay. So generally the way this works is if you wore a uniform for some period of time, however long that was, and you got injured doing anything, it could have been your hand, your finger, your eye, your leg, your knee, what have you, and that's recorded somewhere in your medical record, then you report that. The big question to the VA before they'll pay you any compensation, this is the term, it's not a pension. This form is called a compensation. Before they pay you any compensation of money, they have to figure out, did this happen while you're in uniform, while you were active duty, or did it not? So if you were out of service and discharged, and you got a car accident, it's, quote, a non-service connected issue, and the VA will not pay that. So it had to have happened or started or at least exacerbated while you were in the service in the uniform. So is this a service connected benefit? That's what has to be determined first. And the VA does a process to figure that out. Once that's done, they say, okay, here's your problem. I understand. I'm going to send you to a third-party adjudicator to figure out, to confirm the severity of that problem. If it's hearing, again, if it's a broken leg, what have you, and where do we go from there? Is it a recurring problem, or is it a problem that's been fixed and now you're 100% better? Again, no compensation. But if there's still an existing issue, then the VA will pay this compensation of a certain percentage, equating to a certain amount of dollars every single month, again, tax-free.
And Scott, you've been helping people with their finances for over 40 years, but also very importantly, since 2008, you've been specifically helping people with their benefits if they're veterans, as you opened up the Veterans Benefit Advisory Group back in 2008. And we're talking today with Robert Brown, retired Navy Chief Petty Officer, served for 20 years, and now is a Veterans Service Officer. And guys, we have a few minutes left, and I know we're talking about some known benefits, some unknown benefits. What maybe are some other benefits or opportunities for folks that people should know about?
Well, there's a number of them. Some of them are, if you wanted dental care, you can get that. Not necessarily a particular benefit, but a benefit from having served. If you had dental issues, you can apply for a certificate of eligibility for a home loan. There are burial benefits that many people don't know about, as far as funeral services, costs incurred, the veterans cemetery, the plot, the grave marker, some of those. There's a spousal benefit that you can get for the spouses of the veteran who passed away. Again, a monthly basis for payment of that. Surviving spouse benefit, they called. Or there's dependent education benefits for the children of some of those veterans. For example, my daughter is going to Stockton University as a, quote, cut rate because the VA pays part of her education based upon my disability. So she's the recipient of my service and gets those benefits for her college education. So spouse dependent education benefits there. My wife could go to school if she would choose to because of the disability status that I'm at. And again, all of this is a monthly benefit, non-taxable. You don't talk about it to the accountants.
And Robert, I want to interject real quick because I think it's very important. The number 609-488-4646, but the point that this is great information for veterans, but also veterans' families as well. That's something for folks that are listening out there. There's opportunities for the families of veterans also. Again, that number is 609-488-4646. Robert, Scott, please continue. Got a couple moments left here. Very important stuff.
Couple things that hit my mind that I don't think we brought up. I can't find my dad's records. I can't find the DD-214. I don't know what to do. Robert, what do they do? Because this is a a reason not to follow up because you don't know what to do. B, a reason to put it off and maybe I'll get to it later. It's almost like putting your Christmas tree up on December 24th because you don't have any money. Well, that's what I did when I was broke. But this is different. This is a benefit for life. Robert, I can't find the records. What do we do?
Okay. So to answer that really is talk to me. All right. Tell me what you know and tell me what you don't know. And I say that because if you don't know how to get your record, and again, this could be the military discharge document, DD-214, or the War Department, the WD document, or it could be I don't have medical records from when I was in. I was in Agent Orange, and when we got discharged, we just sent us home, and I wanted to get out of the Vietnam, so I just left. I never got my records, my medical records, to prove any of my disability. So we could start from there. The answer is come and talk to us. I know exactly where we submit to. I know the documents to submit for. We just do a couple documents, submit it, it comes in the mail, and we begin. So if you don't have documents, that's okay. We'll get them. And it's as simple as that. We know where to lead everyone to get this benefit. You start with that. You need the foundation. Then we proceed forward with an application and submission.
I think the worst thing I find out with veterans, being in this business now 40 plus years, my dad did pass away within 5 days when he had leukemia. Mom passed away in 3 months, and we never went for the benefit. I frankly never knew about this benefit until I was invited to school. I thought there was a scam, and they said, well, you pay $2,500, come to our school, learn about these benefits. I really honestly thought it was a scam. Dave Conley, one of our attorneys that we work with on estate planning, said, Scotty, what's $2,500 when you can help vets? And he always calls me a draft dodger, even though I wasn't, because I was 4F'd.
Yeah, the good friends give you the hardest time. That's for sure.
They do. They are. We've been together since 1984, Dave Conley and I. And the funniest thing, the wonderful most thing is I did go to school, and I said, holy mackerel, every financial advisor should be asking the question, are you a veteran? Was your husband or wife a veteran? Maybe they passed away. Was your mom and dad a veteran? This is part of the estate planning process, Alex. As I meet with people, I'm asking lots of questions. They're asking, why are you asking these questions? Because I'm looking for benefits they are totally unaware of. I'm looking to reduce taxes, the best benefit. I'm looking to make their life much more pleasant. So when they retire, they don't worry about running out of money. They enjoy their lifestyle. And that's why I added this veterans benefit in there, because they didn't take me, Alex. And I felt guilty because that's the whole thing in the McLeans. All the McLeans have to join. That was the rule, and they didn't take me. And I frankly was scared to call my dad, saying they turned me down, they 4F'd me.
Sure.
But the moment I told him, I applied to every single facility, whether the Army, Navy, Marines, which I went for first. Every one of them turned me down. I didn't know they shared records. And then all of a sudden, I was afraid to call my dad. When I called him, he said, okay, son, no big deal. I thought I was going to get drilled down, because his goal and the family was to drill down people to find out the best way possible. Now, Robert, as we close on this subject, as a veteran, you've seen people apply, you've seen people get denied. And then they say, well, I applied, I did it myself, and I didn't get approved. And because they didn't get help. What do you say?
Well, first of all, I say you may not have completed every single document in every single line entry that the VA wants. So they don't explain the discrepancy on your document. They just send it back and say, sorry, not approved. So it becomes very important to know exactly what forms to fill out, exactly where to sign, how to answer the questions in order to get approved at the VA level. And based upon expertise here, that's how you get it through. We've had one claim who got approved, and Scott could verify, from start to finish in 10 days.
That was a miracle, though. That was
10 days.
Don't expect
Phenomenal.
that, guys. This was a miracle. I told you very clearly, but that was wonderful.
It was.
Well,
She started coming in. The wife came in. The husband's like,
A Marine
his
Corps
noodles went. The Marine Corps vet. His noodles went south. He was getting flashbacks. He came in. She was crying. Didn't know what to do. They were burning cash. They were going to the nursing home. She came in from hearing me from other people. She came in within. And I will tell you this, I don't know how it happened so quick. I've never seen it, but it is out there. It is real, as long as you do it correct, guys.
Yep.
Alex?
Yep. Thank you.
And you need some guidance. And that's really what we're out here for. We're to guide you to where you need to be based upon your service and your commitment in military.
Thank you.
And that's where it is. And again, serving vets is ideal. And in my heart, every single day.
Thank you so much for that. Great way to close. And again, if you need help, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. Great guest today, Veteran Service Officer Robert Brown. Robert, again, thank you for being a guest today. More importantly, thank you for serving our nation.
You're welcome.
Thanks, buddy.
Scott opened up the Veterans Benefit Advisory Group in 2008 to help veterans and their families, guiding them to these important benefits. Again, that number, 609-488-4646. The number for Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. And again, a special salute and thank you to all of our veterans.
Hey, this is Scott McLean. I want to wish you guys a tremendous, wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and all the lovely greetings we have for you. Proud to be in your life as we try to give you the financial information so you don't go insane. Happy holidays.
This radio program may contain information which has gone regulatory or other significant changes since its original recording. The information and views expressed on today's show is educational in nature and is not intended to be a recommendation for any specific investment, product, strategy, plan, tax, or legal advice. Information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies, LLC, are not associated entities.
This radio show is a paid placement.